about 5 minutes. And we've got ourselves a 14-day graduate here from our Hawaiian detoxification rejuvenational vacation for yourself is what I like to call it. And this is Lance from, he's Sicilian, but say your last name?
Scalizzi.
Scalizzi. And he's just a stone's throw away from where our family's from, Malta. So he's an island boy. I'm an island boy, and you're on an island now. So pretty. He's been here for almost 21 days, and he, like I said, did a 14-day heroic water fast. 14 days. You guys don't even understand. Sometimes it sounds like it's like, that's pretty easy. Yeah, give it a try. I dare you. Probably can't even do 1 day, just so you know. And you should ask the question, have you ever even done a 1-day water fast? Now, have you ever done any fasting before?
Done a 7-day.
7-day.
Water fast.
At home?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And was this hard for you to do?
No. Actually, it was a lot easier 14 days than 7 days at home.
I've heard that, you know, and why would you think?
I would think mostly the atmosphere.
Exactly. Your programs that you already know, all the people distracting you, your telephone and everything that you're used to all the time. So this is something that you don't know this, people, but everybody needs to do this. Do it anywhere you want to. It doesn't matter. It's just that there are other therapies that you'd want to do with this too, if you can handle it. Tell us about some of the different therapies or different things that you've done also with water fasting.
The gua sha, which we're about to do. IV therapies.
And what kind of IV therapies were you doing?
Hydrogen peroxide, EDTA, glutathione.
Alpha lipoic acid?
Yes.
Vitamin C at all?
But yeah, took a vitamin pack, mostly vitamin C.
Nice. Did you notice any turbulence from getting those besides getting poked with a little needle?
No, none at all.
None? Okay,
No.
good. Did you notice that one IV therapy was more turbulent than the other at all? The one that I feel that when I take it is EDTA, and it's not when I'm taking it. It makes me feel a little depressed for a day or two after I do take it. It's because it unloads so much garbage in your system that now you got a lot of toxicity that's used to be stuck in your body. Now it's flowing in your body, and that's why you have to get it out. And it makes me feel sort of hollow. Makes you sort of feel like you're sort of not so much anymore. But when I first was taking EDTA, I cried a lot. I had no idea. Okay, feeling like all these thoughts going through your head and a lot of weird stuff. So, you know, doing detoxification, a lot of times you'll find out that what you're doing is you're just rewinding a lot of yourself. And you're doing that so you can make space to put in some better things that you had in your system. So you did 14 days, and how much weight did you lose?
34 pounds.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay. Now, I call him Sir Lancelot because this guy, you can't tell, but you can tell he's like, when I stand up, he's like a good, how tall are you, 6'5"?
6'5".
I'm only 5'6", so he's like a foot taller than me. So, you know, sometimes when you're bigger, your body has more surface area, so you can accumulate more. But then again, sometimes when you're bigger too, okay, it doesn't solidify as tight as on a small person. So sometimes I found out that people that are taller can lose toxicity easier than people that are shorter. Because when you're shorter, everything gets harder and it gets tighter. Have you always been a pretty good athlete your whole life, or?
Active, yeah.
Active?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, do you do anything to keep you, so you'd say, I'm a health enthusiast, or did you just start getting into health?
No, I've been pretty active getting to health probably the last 20, 25 years. But I used to play a lot of basketball, and then hurt my back, and then moved into Tai Chi and some internal martial arts, which seemed to help a lot.
100%. You know, everybody always asks the question, you know, he came on vacation for himself, and usually you can ask anybody, you've never even been on vacation for yourself. It's always been for everything else but yourself. And this time, you go on vacation, you have lost body weight, 35 pounds, you said?
34.
34 pounds. And what he did was he gained clarity in his head. Because usually when you go on vacation, you know what happens? This gets dumbed down from all the dumb things that you do because you're on vacation, sort of, and you, all of a sudden I can do them now. And your body doesn't lose weight, it gains weight. Usually like on a trip, you go away for 21 days. A lot of times people gain 15, 20 pounds. So this is something that's really smart for people, and you need to learn from other people, just like from Lance here. Like I said, I call him Sir Lancelot because this guy reminds me of a big warrior, you know. And like I said, it's courageous for anybody, little, okay, or big. Just because you're tall doesn't mean you're courageous, and just because you're small doesn't mean you're like a little chihuahua. You can't bark a lot. But this is courage. This has nothing to do with being mean or being tough. This has to do with having the courage to be able to really take responsibility into your own hands. Is what you did. Self-responsibility is a big picture. How did you ever find out about the retreat here?
I was looking into water fasting, and actually came across Dr. Nicholas Tanchev.
Mm.
And he was out of the country, and probably took me about a year and a half of corresponding, and then he recommended here. He recommended your name and this retreat. So I called up immediately and booked the time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Dr. Nick started here first. He was the first doctor that we had was hosting the retreats here, and we probably did about 60 different people through him, and it was basically just water fasting. We didn't really do a lot of the deeper protocols or anything, but this has been a work in progress, and now I try to really only use naturopathic doctors because they have a little more idea on a naturalistic idea and approach. And a medical doctor, it's not that they don't know much, they're more practicing pharmaceuticals and synthetic medicines. And naturopath tells you sort of what they do. They're trying to figure things out a little more naturally than a person who would be what we'd call, you know, using synthetic medications. Because a lot of times people think medication sounds cool. Well, they're called synthetic medications because they're not naturalistic. They're not real. They're analogs usually, or they're some type of a chemical that's maybe made from something natural, but it's not. And they usually always give you residue. So we found out that if you really don't clean up your act before you come here, it doesn't really matter either way. It's just getting on the program. So a lot of people think for some reason, oh, I need to do this for 6 months. How long have you been following any of the protocols at all? Did you see any of the videos that I had?
No, as soon as he referenced your name, I called up, and I didn't even have time to even look at any websites.
Yeah. So you came blindly, just on Dr. Chan.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing like food combining and been eating raw for the last couple months.
Okay.
Probably about 90% raw for the last couple months.
And so you're 6'5". What was your heaviest weight you've ever been at?
A little over 300.
Oh, no way.
About 2 years ago.
Whoa, 300 pounds. And what do you weigh now?
225.
That's...
I was down to 216 a few days ago.
That's... But what you put back? You've put back real minerals back in your system. So you didn't put back the same yeast, mold, and fungus. That's what he just lost. You know, people say you lost 34 pounds of what? Water? No, you just drank more water than you ever drank in your life. Don't you think?
Yeah.
You drank more water, more than what you ever did. And it's not just regular water; it's dry water. So when you dry yourself out, you're flushing yourself out, and you constantly, it makes sense. But then if you don't do the IV therapies, the colon hydrotherapy, which is using, depending on how healthy you are, a variety of different solvents to be able to see if we can unload the sewage pit, the colon. You did colon hydrotherapy too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever done that before?
Yes.
Okay. This guy's advanced here. 7-day water fast
with 2 colonics a day at home.
Beautiful. Have you ever been to someone to do it though?
No.
That's a whole other story. You're going to do what to me? Did you notice that it's a more uncomfortable because you're putting fluid in it, you're trying to get a bigger amount sometimes with the machine. Did you notice that you found...
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the machine.
Yeah.
I liked it doing much better at home, and I actually got better results at home.
You will, especially if you know the protocols. Especially if you can do a headstand when you do an enema yourself. You flip upside down and give yourself a headstand so you can really, or you go into the inner the gravity swing we have, and you flip upside down. But you really keep a tight leash on how far you go away from the toilet, because
Yeah.
I've had problems, let me tell you, called enema bloopers. So, have you ever seen any creatures come out of your enemas?
Well, I had about, I'd say, 4 pounds twice a day come out of me, and it was just long black. It looked like intestines. Is what it looked like a mucus, looked like a black lining that was lining the intestines. But now that I found out, most likely it was a ropeworm.
Rope parasite. And the rope parasite's hard to distinguish. If you just look up rope parasite, guys, I just did a big lecture on this a little while ago. It comes in five stages, and it takes about 10 years for it to actually become a fully fledged looking serpent in your stomach. And any time that you feel, and you've probably felt this before, where you're hungry and you feel your stomach going, oh, my stomach's gurgling, listening to that thing. You wonder what that is. Once you lose the rope parasite, this rope parasite, moves like a squid does with jet propulsion. It takes your internal fluids and it pushes around. That's why the bubbling you feel. Because why? It's coming up to feed. Remember, these things live in the intestinal tract. It's their house. So it's sort of weird to be able to think this. So you kicked at 2 pounds. Remember, you weren't eating any food. Right? 2 pounds you felt a day for a few days through enemas.
Oh, what? The last fast I was doing?
No, just anything that you've done with enemas. You've had material come out of you pretty good, right?
Just when I did it at home, yeah.
Yeah, just when you did it at home.
Nothing came out here.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Was,
now, Matt did the similar, and you'll find out that just because you're thinner or you're, let's say, 300 pounds, these creatures don't want to come out of your intestinal tract too easy. Especially if you have called napkin ring deformity. It's where the intestine starts to squeeze down like this. And this is where you need to really flexibly open up and really get these massaged tendons and all these different muscles. Remember, your intestinal tract, you need to get it back so it's actually muscular again. It's sort of like doing exercises for your intestines. And it took me about 4 years on and off experimenting, getting different layers of different parasites out of me. And I had blood come out of mine several times when I had these different parasites that were hooked on my intestinal tract fall off. And let me tell you, also sometimes wind up feeling like you did something wrong is because the inside of your intestinal tract sometimes gets raw. Tell us about your reason why. Why did you come here? What was on your mind? Were you sick? Did you feel like you wanted a detox? Did you feel like you needed something? Why did you do this?
Definitely needed some detox. Being a firefighter, a lot of drinking. So then I hurt my back, had back injuries and nerve damage. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if that had anything to do with my digestional problems. So I was pretty figured it was a combination of everything. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started investigating a little more deeply into health and raw, organic, raw stuff like that. Cut out a lot of meat. Haven't been eating meat much at all for the last year.
Okay. And what he's saying is that basically what he's doing is he's thinning out some of the dense foods that he's been eating. And then when you go to water fasting, all you've done is just giving your body a rest to be able to go reverse. It goes into what's called ketosis, where your body has no fuel inside and it starts to eat up whatever it can, if it can, and the body needs energy and it thrives off of ketones. Problem is we don't usually get a chance to make ketones, and it takes about 3 days of not eating. You've got to use all your glucose up, and once you do, that's when the magic starts to happen. Remember, he did 7 days would have been a good disconnect, and a disconnect is from what's controlling him to feed. Okay, 14 days means that he got a lot of his life back. Okay, he doesn't even know what he's disconnected. Okay, but what he's disconnected is everything that used to feed. So the only reason being why you can get worse when you go back is because if you go back to the foods and the different types of, you know, ways that you were sort of running your system. Your parasites inside your system, they want, okay, everything that you gave them before. Okay, so the number one thing you want to stay away from is processed foods and sugar. And try to intermittent fast if you can, 20 hours a day. This will be your best savior. And plus, after about 3 months. So what, you just went in jail for 14 days, you didn't get anything, not even a crumb, and then you get out, all of a sudden, if you could fast every day for at least 18 hours, that means if you have dinner at 6 o'clock, okay, then you'd fast. And fasting doesn't mean you don't eat anything. You have liquids, a variety of different liquids, all different types. And you go 6 o'clock in the morning, that's 12 hours, have your breakfast tea in the morning, okay, with psyllium and chia seeds, and put a little coconut oil in there. Look up the breakfast teas that we make, Dr. Robert Cassar breakfast teas. I got about 10 of them on the internet. And then if you can go another 6 hours, that would be 18 hours at 12 o'clock. That's easy. But if you can, go to 3 o'clock, because this is when you really, really get the health part. It's from like 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, from the 18 hour to 21 hour. I do 24 hours a day. But it took me a couple years to get that way. And in the day, if I feel hungry or if I feel like I need something, I feed my brain. I don't feed my body. I feed my brain cacao. I feed it ferments, all my live ferments that have about 10 on my counter. And if you feel hungry at all, what you want to do is you want to have maybe a half avocado or chia seed pudding, but try to stay away from sugar. Now, you know, you've never really been sick, right? No one's labeled you with a sickness?
No.
Do you take any pharmaceuticals at all?
None.
Okay. So, and he doesn't have any children, okay? You're not married either, right?
No.
Okay. So he can put a lot of time into himself, because if not, it's hard to put time into yourself. It is. Okay, you got 3 children and a few wives, maybe a job or 2. Why? Because you got 3 children and 2 wives. So, you know, it does take time to regenerate, and it took time for you to accumulate. And today, the protocol that we're going to do on him, since he's soft, I don't really like to work on people until they've worked on themselves quite a bit. Today what we're going to use is we're going to use an advanced protocol on him, because he's not so advanced right now, okay, but his skin is advanced and it's ready for the next level. You can see we've only been here like 17 minutes, and look at river sweat, okay? This is good. A lot of people that come in here, you can see, look, his knees are sweating, everything's sweating. We've got rivers going down us, okay? If you don't sweat in here, and this is what happens with a lot of people that come in here. We're in here for 20 minutes, let's say, and they haven't even had a drop. Got a little moisture right there. That's it. They're not ready for me to work on them. The body's plugged. So if you can sweat, guys, what you're trying to get out of you is a lot of pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, fungicides, okay? It's not just in your food. It's in your water, okay? So you have to be really smart. You have to get a distiller. Do you have a water distiller at all?
No, I have whole house filters. And then a water structure on the house.
Okay, but you need to get a water distiller.
I don't have a distiller.
And you know why? It's because it's going to take out the pharmaceuticals. It's going to take out a lot of the stuff. The filters don't take out acids. It doesn't take out a lot of stuff because they're liquids, gaseous liquids. Does it take out fluoride? Unless you got a specialized fluoride filter.
KDF filter for that.
They're pretty effective.
I mean, it's not 100%.
They're pretty effective. Yeah. No, way better than nothing. But you got to be also smart, and you got to do what? You got to change the filters all the time. So the best water I found, okay, is to take your RO water, okay, that you have, and then you got a distiller, and you use that water because you've already stripped most of the garbage. You won't have to clean your distiller so much. Don't use the tap water. You got an RO system. Good.
No, I don't have an RO system. I just have the 3 big 20-inch blue filters.
Oh, you have the, which ones do you have?
Activated bone char. I have 3 of those, and then the KDF filter.
Okay, so that takes most of the stuff out. So you use that water, okay, to be able to make your distilled water, is because what you're trying to do is get, remember, you think those filters take pharmaceuticals out? Glyphosate, atrazine? No, not even. Okay, so, and that's only, remember, there's 80,000 chemicals. You can think of your grandma, okay, and that's not too long ago. Your grandma didn't have 80,000 chemicals that she had to deal with. Okay, when a child's born right now, in the womb, by the time they're born, they can have up to 300 chemicals in their blood. What kind of child is that going to turn into? Okay, not only that, besides all the vaccines and and the GMOs and having chlorinated water and fluoride in your water and plastic and plasticizer. Guys, you got to be really smart to live healthy in this world. So all I can say is that you got to really, you know, try to grasp just a check off at a time, a list at a time. Do you have mercury fillings in your mouth?
Yes.
Okay, that's on his list. To do what? Get rid of them. It'll be good for you to, you know.
I'm doing that on the way back.
Oh, excellent. You're going to California? Who are you seeing?
Dr. Lori.
Excellent. Okay. And Dr. Lori, we've done several videos, and she's super skilled. She does my teeth without anesthesia. Why? Because she's skilled, and I'm sort of tough. Because if they're not skilled, I can't be that tough. No, she's skilled. Or Dr. Morales, you know, in Mexico. I use those two people. Dr. Morales uses different types of materials that the United States won't let you use. But then again, it's scary for people to go across the border a lot of times, and it's a hassle. It just is. And not only that, it's not only a day sometimes. Sometimes it's two. You got to come back, and you know, such and such. So, how many fillings you got to change?
45 and 2 bridges.
Wow. Okay, so he's got some work to do. Now, remember, there's all little pieces of this. He just got himself the possibility of getting a new life. Possibility. Why? Because he just disconnected all his parasites. As long as he doesn't feed them back again by feeding them blood, feeding them processed foods, anything in a box, anything in a can, okay, toxicity, pesticides, all that stuff, then they won't thrive anymore. But if you feed them a lot of stuff that you were feeding them before, remember, what you did was you cut out billions of low-level passengers inside your system. We didn't get the big guys yet. Okay, that's in time, layer at a time. But what you did was you cleaned house on all the little guys. You took apart all of them. There's only so many nutrients for the grass, the shrubs, the trees, and everything to live. Okay, you only have so much water. If you stop watering the grass, what happens? All the rest of the nutrients can go to the rest of the parasites. So that's why no matter what, you don't feed these guys again. And if you do, they come back pretty strong. You'll find out that you'll be insatiably hungry, and all you have to do is train yourself for the next 60 days, and you'll pretty much be at a whole new layer that you don't even have to fight anymore. You just don't want to eat. Hey, let's go to lunch. You go, that means I'm not going to eat dinner tonight because you're not going to be hungry by the dinner time. We've been in here now just 20 minutes or so, and look, we've already sweat a couple of pounds. So I'm going to show you the tool that I'm going to use here. The tools that we're using are actually, there we go. The tools that we're using are not tools that you would normally use when you're brand new. This tool, feel that. That thing's got some sharpness to it. That's pretty sharp. And you could cause damage by going like this, okay? Just like you can when you shave. You don't go sideways, do you? And guys and girls, everybody shaves pretty much once you become an adult. You don't go sideways with the blade. Guess what? You don't go sideways with the blade. How did I get this thing so sharp? Because it doesn't come like this. What do? I use this nail file here, and we sharpen it up. Remember, this is a tool. And this is an advanced tool, and we're not going to use this tool to work the bottom part of his tissue. This is only... Oh, now feel that. You go sideways, yeah. And that's as sharp as you want to have it. It's pretty darn sharp. You could actually cut you know, if you had a piece of meat there, you could go back and forth. It's not razor sharp, okay? And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the technique on how to do this, but it's super important for you to be able to have clean skin before you start, and I'm talking weeks before you start doing any gouaching. And it's super important for you to see if you can soften up your tissue by following the skin cleaning protocols, putting on the magnesium every day, not just rubbing on the coconut, but massaging and rubbing in deep. You were also doing massages too, weren't you?
Yes.
Anything else? You went to the beach yesterday. We had a good time. That was beautiful yesterday.
It was nice. Yeah.
It was.
I went to the warm springs.
Warm ponds?
The warm ponds, yeah.
Another magical place.
That was really nice.
You had high tide that day. It wasn't as warm as it should be, but
that's right. It was still rejuvenating.
Oh yeah.
And the waterfalls.
The waterfalls. And the waterfalls on the property is magical, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just is, to have this in your backyard. So, you know, doing these protocols, laying out in the sun, getting full body sun, okay? He showed me some new techniques to make sure you could hide from people so they don't see you. I said, hey, that's a good one there. I learned something. So, following is what you can do, as much as you can do, remember, is how you have to navigate this. At first, you just do a little bit at a time. It might be just cutting off pork to go to beef, beef to go to chicken, chicken to go to fish, fish to go to maybe camarones and scallops, okay? And then go down to mollusks only. And then go take the jump like I did, okay? And I had a vegan girlfriend, and she says, Robert, what's your deal? Why don't you try this? You're always into trying stuff. Why don't you try the vegan thing? And I just stopped eating meat because I don't claim myself a vegan or vegetarian. I just don't have blood in my diet. I think raw fertile eggs are super healthy for you because they're full of growth hormone. We've done lots of videos on that, and there's necessity to rebuild yourself. Remember, you have to rebuild. The detoxification, that's why we call this the Hawaiian detoxification, rejuvenation. Your body will make new nervous tissue when you stop assaulting it, but you have to put the work in to make the nervous tissue actually build the muscle tissue, rebuild the ligament and tendon tissue. So it is work, but it is. Once you get over the hump, it's fun. So part 2, like I said, we're pretty soft, both of us. Usually I have to sort of suffer here for waits about 40 minutes. We're pretty good right now, but 40 minutes because the person that I'm with, they're not sweating enough. And in order for me to do this technique, as you'll see, you're going to see some mean stuff come out of his skin that he can't get out himself, okay? Not only that, I was showing Trevor, he's got little tiny little, they're like keloid scabs, I call them. This is where you had pimples from 25 years ago. How old are you?
45.
40 years ago. He gets a mosquito bite. Every time you get a mosquito bite, you get a little keloid scar, okay? Every time. You get an inflammation, you get a cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape off all the top layers as much as we can so his tissues, okay, can start to actually have what I call less scleroderma. And scleroderma is the hardening of the outside of the tissue, which makes people look old, makes their skin look leathery, makes it look wrinkly, okay? Remember, your skin should be transparent, and once it becomes transparent, you find out it's really easy to stay healthy. And if you have body fat, you're not fat, you're clogged, you're demineralized, okay, you're toxic. It's real simple. And plus you're not eating the foods you should be. So what would you say about the journey that you did? What do you think? Do you think you'd recommend this movement at all for anybody, no matter where you do it?
I would recommend it for everybody.
You bet.
No matter how healthy you think you are, there's always something to come out. And that's the main reason I came here, was to create an environment to where my body can heal itself. Which, when I saw terrain modification, it all clicked, and that's exactly what I've been trying to do for myself for the last decade or so.
Nice.
Just in my own research.
And this is what it is. I just did a video. It's called Becoming Your Own Doctor. You're not going to be a doctor for anybody else. You're going to become your own doctor, your own physician. That means you have to teach yourself, and you have to now learn discretion. So learn from this guy what he went through. Learn what I've went through. Learn what people have gone through. Whatever layer they've gone through, they may be able to help you with a few things. But then again, just because someone does something, jumps off the bridge, doesn't mean it might be the right thing. You have to have discretion. And we've got 35 years of studies and what I call internal, myself, clinical research for me, on me, and external. Probably over 100,000 patient office visits, and actually we have millions of views of YouTube channel views, and tens of thousands of people that have given me testimonials just saying, these have changed their life. Well, of course they will. Just, when are you going to start? Once you get sick, guys, I'm just telling you, you're pretty smart. Remember that. Why? Because once you get sick, what do you think you're going to do? Okay? You're going to have to figure something out. And that means you got to really backpedal. Okay? He's never really, been to the doctor per se as far as being sick. So he's not here because he's sick. And in fact, like I said, guys, I don't want to hear about your sickness. I don't treat any sickness. I'm not saying I don't care what you have. I can see that that's a problem. It's a disease, but we do terrain modification here, 50 departments, and you optimize, enhance, and upgrade what you can. And a little at a time, this machine is really smart. It'll fix itself. And of course, you have to put some effort and self-responsibility in it, but once you get over the hump by seeing other people that have done this research study now has about 200 what we call clinical trials, and clinical trials are just people going through these protocols. And this group was great because it wasn't a person less than 14 days.
No, we all went 14.
Everybody went 14. Shanti did 18 days. Donna before did 20 days. And those women were 330 to 350 pounds. Okay, and they're like Shanti. She lost, well, she's 160 now, and over the last 9 months, I said, what did you do? Terrain modification. And what's that? Just learning. Real simple. And this isn't my system, guys. It's just a logical system. Taking the best of the best of the best of a lot of stuff and pulled it together. We connected the dots, and now it's up to you to be able to see what works for you. Don't buy into all of it. In fact, most of it's probably over your head a little bit until you get into the next layer. But once you do, then you'll find out there's lots more game to play. Lots more. Especially when you start to go ahead and show people the results that you get. Good or bad. The results. So you can either, take the protocols, remember, bend them around. No one's saying this is exactly what you should do. No one says you can't cheat a little bit either. This isn't school at, at your old elementary school where the priest or the teacher's going to whip your hand for cheating. There is no cheating here. It's just yourself competing against yourself. And look and see what other people, you didn't compete against anybody. 14 days.
No.
That was
it was easy. It was a lot easier than I thought. I wasn't hungry at all.
Internal courage. Any other parting words before we... Remember, you got a lot to share. Remember, in the future, I want you really, really, because you do. You have a lot to share because you're easy to fix. Because you don't have attitude. You don't. Okay? And people that have attitude, their whole system's fighting inside themselves. They don't want to do this. They're only doing this because they know they should. And what will happen is I see those types of people, and they usually have a lot of emotional trauma. Okay? If anything, this guy here, what I see, he was a fireman for how many years?
13.
Okay, you went to houses when they were burning, I'm sure, right? That's what
Yes.
a fireman does?
Yes.
Breathe in what? Everything that's in the house.
Toxins.
Massive ones. Carpet retardant, lead on the walls, asbestos, vinyl chloride, bisphenol A, chemicals that we have never heard about because when they burn, what do? They all melt and soup together. And even if you're breathing in an apparatus, it doesn't matter. Guys, it gets on everything. A lot of these particles are smoke particles, so they're nanoparticles, and you have to be very careful. So, got lucky that you got disabled, I think. Like me, I got disabled in my field, and I couldn't practice anymore. But you know what it did? It woke me up. If not, I was too busy. I was on the hamster wheel. Boom, 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 boom. Busy all the time. And when I slowed down is because I got into a massive car accident, broke my nose, broke my cheek, chipped my teeth, 3 ribs cracked, broke my hand 6 months and had a cast and a navicular bone, herniated 2 discs, 10 and 12 prolapse meters, which is huge and unfixable, and screwed up my shoulder and my nerves and my tendons in my arm. And a lot of the techniques I show people today is because I had these problems and I had to figure them out. And being a researcher and an experimenter, I'm going to try to figure it out. But then again, let me tell you, I went to all the orthopedics, all the neurosurgeons, I went to all the doctors, and all they wanted to do was do exactly what they want to do with the rest of my patients. At the absolute, is do surgery. Give you medications, and, give it that way. So I just didn't buy into that because I know that 25% of the people get better, 25% get worse, and 50% stay the same. I didn't make these statistics up. Okay, 25% get better, 25% get worse, and 50% stay the same. That's not too good odds. So it's the same with treating, cancer. Okay, you get 2-year profile, you got all these people living for 2 years, but if you look at the 5-year projection, you find out that most of them not only died, but they suffered before they died. And they got this second round of this called now stage 4 cancer, and that's when the doctor, the Almighty, tells you got 4 weeks to live, or 6 weeks. So before any of that stuff happens to you guys, because it's not even so much that you can't heal your body, it's your mind, okay, doesn't like to hear that from so-called a professional, that we think for some reason they have the crystal ball and they can tell. I've known teens of people that have been sentenced to death and they're not dead yet, okay, following protocols, changing it up, and really getting serious. So before you get bloody sick, guys, why don't you just get serious like he did? Remember, he's not sick. You know what he is? He's reasonable. And he's logical. You must have been watching a lot of Star Trek. Watching Spock, okay? Or Data, okay?
When I was a kid.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite shows there. So he's on his 2nd stage right now, so as soon as he goes home, he's got a whole new, I don't say prospectus on life, he has a whole new software program on life. Prospectus means that's what you see. How about what you are now is different. So, the only thing that I've seen some people do is fall back. You know why? Not because of not them, is because their families, their girlfriend, their families and stuff. So if you're going to do any of this detoxing and rejuvenation, guys, be smart. It's a family affair. This is not to be done by yourself. Okay? If you want to stay with your family. If not, what do you think? They're going to let you fry up pork chops anymore? Once you stop drinking blood? Once you get on a different program, what do you think happens? Your parasites don't see eye to eye to theirs. Your toxicity doesn't see eye to eye to theirs. And your family, your loved ones, your precious cargo, they may not like you so much. It's not even so much they don't like you. It's that you don't follow their rules anymore, and you want them to follow your rules. And they haven't done the dry out yet. And that's why you have to do the dry water fasting, disconnect these things inside us. And when that happens, guys, you got a chance to be able to go ahead and actually command from here instead of the body commanding from here. So, again, bravo, Sir Lancelot. I saw him in the beginning, and you know, you lose 35 pounds, you don't even look the same. Look at everybody that's been here. Okay, look at everybody when you, especially if you sort of like on the same team. You guys all started at the same time. You all had a camaraderie without competition. Like you had Uncle Ray there. What is he, 70?
Yeah, I think he's
70 years old. Okay.
I think Matt transformed the most because he was the youngest.
I want you to notice that.
He looked close to 40, and now he looks in his early 20s.
Look
if not even a teenager. He's going to get carded next time he goes out.
Look how clean he is right now. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Super
the jowls.
Vital. Not a wrinkle, not a crease. That's what happens, guys. The younger you are when you do this, and we've had people here, the youngest was Franz Ohana from Texas, and he was 15 years old. I said, what are you doing this for, Franz? He says, I want to become more human. I want to evolve. I listened to some of your lectures, and it sounds like that's what I want to do, but I know I have to go ahead and actually evolve my body and upgrade my mind. And how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to learn some of these protocols and see what it does to people that aren't sick, that actually already are healthy and young. I already know what it's going to do. Okay, we're ready. Getting dizzy a little bit. You got to drink a lot of water while you're in here. Okay, if you don't drink water, you'll feel nauseated, and you can have a heart attack in the sauna. Okay, so be smart. Drink this much before you get in, this much while you're in here, and this much after you get out. This drink has MSM. It's got chia seeds. I've got a little bit of yesterday's, my breakfast morning tea. You can see some golden berries in there. I don't throw anything out. And I've got a big tablespoon of MSM and 5 drops of our organic stevia. What does it taste like? Lemonade. Without the stevia, though, not good. And it's also got fulvic acid, minerals, and a little bit of cinnamon, too. Okay, we're going to start part 2 now. Take a 2-second rest. And we're going to see what kind of feta cheese we can get out of this not old guy right now. He's a clean guy, and we'll see how clean his filters are, because he's sweating, but he stopped river sweating. He's still sweating, which means he needs more water. Once I stop sweating a lot, I'll still sweat, but you want to feel the drops going down you. And if you don't do that, that's when you start getting into the danger zone of getting dehydrated and feeling like, I can't stay in here any longer. This is about what you usually just stay in anyways, right? You've been in here 40 minutes now. How long do you stay in here?
I usually come in, I turn it on and sit in here while it heats up. And by the time it hits 110, I'm already soaked.
Most people, they can't even stand 30 minutes in here. Okay, and we were in here, we're in 140, it says, remember? not 125. Okay, let's give him a part 1 chakas. This guy's part Hawaiian now. Even though he's not Hawaiian, he's got the Hawaiian vibe in him. All right, aloha. Sir Lancelot, you just lost your name. We're going to call you Super Cheese now. That's good, though.
Sir Cheese-a-lot.
Sir Cheese-a-lot. There you go. Okay. Coming out. Oh. Okay, this toxicity, guys.
Important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.